What's up, Connection? Welcome to the most extreme menage a trois violence you'll ever experience here on the Extreme Three-Way Dance. I'm JT coming at you with my partners Matt and Jenny. And of course, this show is simulcast both on audio on all podcast applications and video right here on our YouTube channel, North South Connection. Be sure to follow us there, subscribe, and of course, hit up our social media, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. And right now, Ryan Gray and myself are counting down every single WrestleMania match ever. All 402 are being done in a short form. They're all 1 minute or less every match. Those are airing on Facebook Reels, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts. So subscribe and don't miss any. That's going to run up until this year's WrestleMania Saturday. Also have lots of other great content. We're going to have a lot of cool WrestleMania stuff leading up to this year's show, plus all of our existing shows like this one right here, guys. How are you both doing?
I'm good. What number are you guys on the countdown?
Let me check. I'll check. While we're recording this, I want to say we're like in the 200s, and
that's an extreme number.
And it is. That was going to be my point. Yes.
We're at 224 as of this recording.
Good.
So by the time it airs, it'll probably be like close to 200-ish.
Okay.
That's a lot of matches.
So we're almost halfway there. A lot to go.
Yeah.
Lot to go. So it's been fun, though. It's definitely been interesting. Appreciate all the feedback and all that. So, but on this show here, we're going through the history of ECW. We started in February 1994, and now we are about to be in February 1999 by the end of this episode. We're late January right now. And we've covered a lot of ground, and we're in the final 2 calendar years of ECW. So we're going to be matriculating our way through those. Anything you guys want to talk about before we dive right into our first episode?
I want to talk about you just saying matriculating on.
I was also going to bring that up.
On an ECW podcast. What are we doing?
Yeah,
it's a little fancy.
Yeah, I don't understand that. That's a $10 word.
Joe Styles word.
Yeah.
I think ECW wise, I am super curious about Taz, and because I was analyzing this today, another big word. But I think that my hesitation with Taz being the champ is that I'm bored with all of the matches that he seems capable of doing. What kind of feud can I look forward to, or is it just going to be a bunch of squash title defenses? That seems to be what Taz does when he holds a belt. So outside of Sabu, who I think is his number one nemesis till the end of time, you can't just keep running back Sabu, though. And Shane's pretty much put to bed. So I just feel hesitant and worried about Taz's title run.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Taz is he's been around with us since the beginning of the show, pretty much.
Right.
And a lot of that time he's been doing the same thing. So
yes,
he is finally world champion, which is different. But, to what we're saying is he's kind of been doing the same thing now for 4+ calendar years of ECW television. So I get what you're saying. It's going to be an interesting approach to see if he starts showing some vulnerability to anyone else besides Sabu, or is he going to continue to just kind of dominate as champion? So we'll track that throughout 99.
Is a dominant champion in his way, is that good? I mean, do you guys want to see that? What are your thoughts on that?
I think, yeah, but I think the only reason I hesitate is because Shane Douglas has kind of been a dominant champion. Not in the same way where he just comes out and destroys people, but he's been champion for how long now? Since, I mean, even with the Bigelow blip, that was only a few weeks, right? I mean,
right.
So really, ostensibly, he's been world champion since
like summer of 97.
3 years. Doesn't he do a whole 3 years thing?
It was like 97.
Wasn't it?
It was either 90. It might have been 97. I can't remember.
Yeah, who does he? I'd have to look back now. We've gone through so much of this. I know he has a blip with Bigelow at the end of 97.
Yeah.
It's like the Sandman and Raven, and they have their whole thing. But either way, it was a long reign for Douglas. I'm gonna look right now, real quick here.
I want to say
so he won it.
Yeah, at Hardcore Heaven, right?
Yeah, right. Because of Terry Funk had it before that, right? So Funk had it, then Sabu quickly. So he had it from August 97. Bigelow with the month as champ, but outside of that, he had it for 14, 15 months or whatever. So we just had a long reign, and a lot of that actually he was
injured, right? He was injured. So Yeah, I don't know.
I think they could have maybe benefit to having like a quick hot potato title with a few guys before going to
Think,
Taz. I mean, they could have done that if they wanted to like bounce it around quick. But I mean,
but we
Taz was due. That's the problem.
right. Like
Yeah.
y'all were very eager for the Taz run, and my question is like, why?
Wow.
You know, y'all
Well, I
like
do think he was the most over
squashes.
guy. I mean, besides RVD, I think he was the most over guy, and I think he's ahead of line. He's ahead of the line in RVD. I just think they should have done it sooner. I think
Yeah. Oh,
Right.
they
100%.
should have done it in earlier in '98, probably.
Yeah.
I do think they waited a little too long. They could have pulled the trigger sooner and then moved on by now, maybe, or just already be 5 or 6 months into the run and said, and here we are, January 16th. We're only a week into his championship reign already, and you're tapping out. So we'll see. Well, maybe he'll win you over. All
We'll
right, let's
see.
dive
I
in.
mean, Shane did. So
Right, that's true. And the Dudleys. All right, January 16th, 99. This is pretty much a recap. Guilty as charged. We'll hit the highlights. Paul Heyman hypes the big things that went down at Guilty as Charged. We get the slate for officially our next pay-per-view, March 21st, Living Dangerously. So there we go. Just a couple months out now from our next show. Van Dam and Fozzy are backstage. They're hyped about having the tag titles and the TV title. RVD brags himself up, takes his usual backhanded jokes at Sabu. Joey's in the nest. He sets up a recap. We get stills from Lance Storm versus Rob Van Dam from Guilty as Charged. We then get a pretty basic Prazak interview backstage with Storm and Tammy Lynn Bitch. Joey's in the nest, talks up Storm, how he leveled up at the pay-per-view, came close to winning the TV title. We then get clips of Taz versus Shane Douglas and stills as well. We then get some exclusive footage of Taz walking to the back with the gold. The locker room throws a party for him. They're spraying champagne. Of course, Taz throws everyone out, tells them they should be fighting for the gold if they want to give him something. Even Chris Chetty gets thrown out. He has a party hat on. He's annoyed. And then we kind of end with Tommy Rich Taz arguing. And after that, Prazak caught up with Tommy Rich, who sends Prazak in with a bottle of champagne. He gets yelled at by Taz. I'm just going to go through this, and you guys can give me your thoughts on the episode. We get stills of Tajiri and Super Crazy. Joey talks about the debut of Sid. We then go to Guilty as Charged, where Prazak is with Judge Jeff Jones. He kind of talks down on Cronus, and Sid gave out his justice tonight. Credible, Jason, Nicole Bass, and Jazz are backstage. Jason has blood all over his face. Credible brags about beating Dreamer all on his own in the Stairway to Help. Said he even stopped his mentor to stop beating Tommy. Credible vows to beat Tommy again and says he is the true hardcore icon. We then get clips where Chastity was brawling with Credible's new boo. I named her as Jazz, but I don't think she gets named for a bit on TV. Chastity getting laid out, Funk tormenting Tommy. Joey knows that Chastity is Raven's sister, which is kind of
Yeah, that was weird.
I was like, wait. If they
Yeah.
knew that and I didn't know that, then something's wrong. Because I was
I don't remember them ever
what?
mentioning that.
I don't
they
think
did
they
not.
ever mentioned that. No, never.
It was odd. We get a full recap of the Funk Tommy feud. Funk is backstage, tells his jackass story. We talked about that last episode. It gets stills of Credible and Dreamer. Joey talks about Dreamer refusing to raise his hands on his mentor. Prazak gets harassed by Doring and Roadkill backstage for Guilty as Charged. We then hear from Paul Dangerously, who talks about a bunch of stuff that happened 3 years ago at House Party 96. We see clips showing the evolution of ECW, and Joey hypes that House Party 99 is occurring this weekend. And then we get the clips of the Dudleys at Guilty as Charged, their recent actions, including their official challenge to Public Enemy to show up at House Party. Joey says, Public Enemy are making good Ted Turner money. Why would they blow that gig? And Joey says, Ric Flair always thought the better of challenges for Shane Douglas. And that means Dudleys and Public Enemy likely isn't happening as well. So don't have any expectations. So again, that's just a quick rundown. A very big highlight show, Matt. But anything jump out at you want to talk about?
Yeah, like you said, I mean, it's basically all highlights of the pay-per-view, but I did like just a couple of things. RVD during his shtick at the beginning says that only one man is 3/4 of the tag champs, and that's RVD. So I thought that was a fantastic line out of him. I want to see Taz versus Tommy Rich now. I don't know about you guys, but like,
Let's go.
Just throw that out there on like a random episode of TV. Like that could be really fun for what it is. So, but I mean, outside of that, yeah, I mean, this is about as standard of a recap episode for a pay-per-view as you're going to find.
I super enjoyed the Taz party that he immediately shit on, and then everybody's just walking out the door. Somebody says, "Beat me if you can, party if I let you," and I fucking die. That's a fucking great
That was
line.
good.
But this was a welcome recap episode, if I'm being honest, because look, I had a lot of episodes to watch today, so I was happy to breeze through this one. I had the Chastity note as well. And then yeah, Joey talks about Tommy Dreamer remaining loyal to Funk during this part, won't fight back and stuff like that. Is that worth it? Y'all think that lasts much longer? Is he gonna break? Do we want him to? Do we want him to
You gotta
fight
think.
back?
You gotta think at some point he's gonna
I feel like
fight
it's
back.
got to happen at some point. You would think.
Yeah.
I guess it just depends on what Terry Funk wants to do, honestly. But
Right.
I mean, look, if there's one thing we've learned in the history of ECW, it's don't get too attached to a Terry Funk storyline because it could end at any moment
you're right.
with him vanishing. So I kind of just take it week to week with him and what's going on with him and Tommy for now.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I had for that one, though.
All right, let's go ahead to January 23rd. The Dudleys in the ring at House Party. Bubba tells the fans the Public Enemy are not here, but they are, and they always have been. And they shouldn't be blamed because they didn't promise or advertise anything. Joey Styles didn't put it over, and Public Enemy isn't here. Forget sold out tomorrow night. Public Enemy sold out the fans. They'll never see Public Enemy and the Dudleys in the same ring, and they feel bad about it. Bubba says they're heading home, and they leave through the fans. Joey and the Nest says Public Enemy did not show up, but they are hoodies making a couple $100,000 from Ted Turner. What would be the motivation to show up and have a bloody street fight for no money? It's a good fantasy, but the Dudleys have left while Joel Gertner and Sign Guy are still here. Jenny, what did you think of this opening? Did you buy it, or is it sometimes ECW does a little bit too much over the top to tip their hand, or were you buying in that they're really just shit talking about getting me to build some heat?
No, I didn't think Public Enemy would show up here, and I don't know. It's typical Dudley stuff. It's not great. Yeah, Matt.
I thought Joey was good here, saying,
always good.
asking, what motivation does Public Enemy have showing up when they're getting paid six figures by Atlanta? I thought that made sense. Like, why would they show up to this bingo hall for a fight? They don't have to show up. So I thought that was an interesting thing that Joey said. But I mean, other than that, I thought, this was fairly standard stuff from the Dudleys. Bubba was very angry, which he always is, but he seemed, there was like a realism to his anger, if that makes sense. Like he was pissed off that Public Enemy didn't show up, so I thought that was good. But yeah, it was fine here.
All right, we go back to the ECW arena. Skull Von Krush is stalking out. Joey puts him over. Judge Jeff Jones, of course, is here. Joey's excited that the rumors are true. It wasn't just a one-time deal, guilty as charged. We get some stills from that show of Sid destroying Cronus. Judge Jeff Jones grabs the mic. He says Von Krush is in his courtroom. Skull spits on Jones, and Jones says Skull is guilty as charged. And, of course, out comes Sid to a big pop. Sid gets in the ring. Joey says this is ECW arena debut, and he just destroys poor old Von Krush, including a chokeslam through a table on the floor from the ring.
Very awkward.
Sid quickly finishes with a powerbomb, and then it's another one after the bell. Quick squash. The atmosphere is amazing for Sid. I love that they don't give him any music either. He's just like a madman. Yep. It just doesn't really belong here, but he showed up. I give it a gentleman's 2 because it's a very effective squash, and the crowd is so into it, Matt.
Oh yeah, I went 2 stars on this too. Just a great Sid squash. It's so fucking surreal to see Sid in the ECW arena. It's just wild to see him there with this crowd just losing their fucking minds. It's awesome. So yeah, that the choke slam through the table where Krush went stiff as a board just to try and brace his fall. I thought that was great. But yeah, I mean, I went 2 stars. I love a good Sid squash. So
well, put me down for 2 stars too. We're all Sid marks. It's totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
He looks insane. Yeah, he just always looks like that. But look, it works. It automatically works for ECW. Like, how could he have not been in this promotion this entire time? That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, and it doesn't even. I don't feel like it's like super. I mean, it's just funny, right? Because he really is, in a way, the epitome of everything they rally against on the commentary and the fans, right? This big tall, jacked up guy with no in-ring skill, and the typical Vince guy, right? That but he shows up here and they're all freaking out to see him.
Hardcore.
But
Right.
because he's such a monster and a madman, it does work. And I do think it's cool because it's really you never really seen Sid be like hardcore. Like he used to
Right.
destroy guys in the ring, but we haven't really seen him like a weapons guy or like a
Mhm.
that kind of brawl. So it'll be interesting to see how far they go with it because it is a unique presentation for him.
Do you like him being paired with the Dutch?
No, I don't like Jeff Jones, both
No,
as a
I
person
mean,
and as a character. So,
it's
that's me. But
yeah, okay.
and the concept of it is fine. I
It's
just
all
Right.
right. It's all right.
I don't think
Because
Sid necessarily.
what other reason would Sid have to come out? So to me, it
yeah,
just
no,
gives
it makes
me
it
like
yes.
a
Right.
Having
Right.
someone that's going to sick him on people makes
right.
sense.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
Right.
like that. Yeah.
yeah, sure. Just not him. All right, we got a slate for Living Dangerously. We got our opening animation. Joey's in the Nest says we'll only get 2 weeks of TV from House Party, but the whole show is available on home video. It's their first release in a while. We get Prazak backstage. He's talking to Chris Candido, but he's focused and banging on a wall. So Tammy tries to fend him off. She sexes it up, eats a banana. Prazak fights the temptation, and then Candido just rants. He says, "No more jokes, fun, and games. Just like Douglas, Taz won't find his actions funny tonight either." Joey in the Nest says a lot happened at House Party, talks about what we'll see tonight and what's available on home video, including the Dudleys punking Public Enemy. Any thoughts quick on that Candido segment before we get to our next match?
Tammy looked real bad.
Oh, she looked awful.
Real out of it. They both
Oh,
looked
yeah.
real out of
Oh
it.
yeah. Yeah.
And I recently watched the Dark Side of the Ring on them. So that
I'm sorry.
hurt a little bit when
Yeah.
I was watching that. And she was going to town on that banana. A little bit weird. Just really kind of hard to watch, if I'm being honest.
Oh yeah.
So-
No, this was a lot.
Joey on commentary is starting to talk about how we're not going to get the silly side of Candido anymore. We're gonna get unhinged Candido, and I'm like, ugh, okay.
I feel like everyone is serious and angry. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
I like
I don't
Candido
know.
being
Yeah.
a man.
He was a little bit
Nut.
more on the comedic side,
Right.
usually.
It was also
Yeah,
weird.
I mean, yeah. Go
I
ahead.
was just gonna say it was also weird to have a Candido promo where you understood everything he said. Too.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's sad to see Tammy. Like, just you think of 2 years ago where we are on Wrestling Warzone every other Monday on the Wrestling Connection. Check in when I go into the Monday Wars. We're in March 1997, and yeah, she's not actively like in a role, but just on top of the world is like a megastar. I mean,
Right.
ridiculous
Nobody's hotter
shape,
than her. Yeah.
lucid, but she like her lucid wrestling mind is on display. She does commentary, everything clicks. Like she's such a sharp mind. It's so sad just to see how quick it all fell apart. Just here 2 years later, it's kind of like we love ECW, right? But in 1990, you're slumming it if you're not making millions in WCW or you're not on top of the Attitude Era, you're slumming it. You just are.
Sure.
So for her to be here and not there, it like just tells you what a mess that turned into, how quickly. Like she's such a meteor in wrestling. Like it's downhill so fast. But
Yeah, it's sad.
yeah, it sucks. All right, to the ring we go as Tajiri and Super Crazy are back. It's a pay-per-view rematch. Crazy gets a pop. Tajiri stalks to the ring. This is the future of ECW on display. We start with a quick flurry from Tajiri, including a handspring, back elbow, a somersault senton to the floor. Tajiri kicks Super Crazy hard in the head, goes to a tarantula. Back inside, Tajiri gets a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker, standing moonsault. Misses a moonsault off the top. Super Crazy pegs him with a springboard dropkick. Crazy follows Tajiri outside, dumps him into the fans, meets him with an amazing Asai moonsault. Back inside, Crazy crotches Tajiri on the top, smacks him down and stomps away. Crazy slams Tajiri, gets a quebrada for 2, follows to the top rope corkscrew press, but comes up empty. Tajiri annihilates him with 2 kicks and a seated dropkick for a near fall, gets 2 on a bridging German. Crazy goes low, gets a moonsault press for 2. Crazy goes to a rolling surfboard into a rear chancery, sick-looking spot. Crazy knocks Tajiri outside, follows, but Tajiri shoots him to the crowd, flies into him with his own Asai moonsault. The crowd is rocking as we head back to the ring. Crazy shoots Tajiri into the railing, nails him with a corkscrew pescado. Back inside, Tajiri gets a Rana into a roll-up for 2. Crazy comes right back with a powerbomb attempt that Tajiri counters to a DDT. Tajiri heads up top, gets a spin heel kick for 2, then a brainbuster for 2. Tajiri misses a missile drop kick. Super Crazy buries him with a powerbomb and hits a spinning slop drop. which I always call a slap drop. I don't care, for the win. And that is it. It's a red hot match, right on par with Guilty as Charged in my mind. It was good to see Crazy get the win here. I didn't want it to be a case where like Tajiri always owns them because we see that enough in ECW. So I like that we even up the series. Big time addition to the promotion. These guys are awesome. They're madmen. It's an evolution of style. We've seen it every year almost, right? We saw the wrestling technicians with the Benoit Malenko. We saw the high flyers, Mexican death style, right? With Mysterio and Psychosis and Hoovy and all those guys. And then, then we went into like the kind of more of the real intense hardcore stuff in 97. A lot of the brawling
Sandman,
and blood came
Dreamer.
in, Sandman and Raven and the WWF guys. And now our next evolution, and a lot of tag stuff too, right? We kind of have like a tag heavy year in there. And now we're really evolving into like this, I don't even know what to call it, hybrid, high flying / hard strike style that's evolving.
Strong style, I think.
Yeah, I guess it is probably, I don't know, like an early strong style presentation from guys, international as well. So we should call that, right? International flavor with a strong style. So this was great. I went 3 3/4, Jenny. I mean, it's a fantastic match, just like Guilty as Charged. I love both these guys. I'll be with them. I'll be a huge fan right up until we're done with this podcast.
Same. It's hard not to love this. This is great. I mean, I already ran out of great words to describe Tajiri, and the crowd loves them both. It's really torn, really, as it should be. I feel torn now between Tajiri and Super Crazy, and the way when he goes to the outside, he grabs the railing and he brings it to the ring to get it out of the way so he can jump the fuck over it onto the crowd, onto Tajiri. Just little details like that. They both use the railing in that way. Really awesome near falls, the sick top rope moonsault by Super Crazy. I love the tarantula. They work it into every one of their matches, spoiler alert. But look, it always pops me and it always will. Love the finish.
I mean, every single Tajiri match you ever watched.
Every single one so far, yes.
No, and going forward.
And going
even
forward.
In the WWF. Even in the WWF.
3.5, Maddie.
Yeah, I went 3.5 on this too. Just fantastic stuff. It's like if the Energizer Bunny was a wrestler, because these guys just keep fucking going. The pace is ridiculous. Like the amount of moonsaults in this match, 20 in this 10-minute match, and it's fucking wild to see. They just don't stop. Their gas tank is unbelievable. And like you guys said, the crowd loves it. It's cool to see these guys come in and the crowd just immediately take to them. It's that crowd, no less, which, not exactly the easiest crowd to please. So yeah, this was fantastic stuff. So 3.5 for me.
Jenny, I think you nailed an interesting point about the style too. They use everything at their disposal, like brilliantly, but it's natural. It's not like they're not setting up. We like that stuff too, right? But it's not the Eliminator setting up triple fucking tables and Public Enemy doing these convoluted like railing, apron, but it's all like it's so fluid. It's crazy.
Yeah, and he just jerked it to him, just in the middle of all this frantic stuff. He just jerked it, and it was great.
Yeah. All right, Prazak's backstage is with Storm and Tammy Lynn Bitch. She takes the mic from Prazak to shut him up. Storm hypes up 1999 as being his year. Said he's sick of being saddled with blonde guys named Chris, which is a great kind of dig at Jericho as well from their tag team days in Smoky Mountain. Storm's mad he can't get Ed Whalen, and he walks off, and Tammy preens for the camera. RVD and Fonzie are backstage. RVD does a great ranting Fonzie impression, and then Fonzie gives him shit for not mentioning Sabu, and they both blow whistles.
That was great.
Yeah. What'd you think of those two before we move to this next long-ass segment?
Oh, God. Just RVD does a fantastic Fonzie. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Right down the middle.
He spent enough friggin' time with him. I'd hope so.
Yeah, I know. It's just... And the rant was on Boston, too, which also was very funny. But...
Maddie does a good Fonzie.
Coming it down the middle, Daddy.
Listen, I'm not telling anything out of school here, but at the end of this podcast here, obviously we're going to hit an end, right? Our plan is to reveal a list of our top, whatever it's going to be, right? 50, whatever ECW stars. I mean, Rob Van
You're
Dam's the
gonna
number one
put
contender, right? He is a contender for
Oh.
number.
yes,
Oh,
yes.
absolutely.
I thought you
100%.
were talking about Fonzie for some.
He's not. He's going to be on there too. We're
No,
not
he's
just the
not.
wrestlers. It's going to be top
No,
50
no.
ECW
He'll be number
performers.
50.
He's going to be
Wow.
on there.
Mm-mm.
He's on there. He's on there. All right.
I'm gonna blow whistle that whole episode.
Chris Candido and like we mentioned earlier, very buzzed Tammy are in the ring. Out marches the new ECW champion. Taz's first arena defense is coming up. Candido's jacked. Joey reminds us how focused on business he is now. There's more comedy. The crowd is buzzing for Taz as we get going. Francine shows up and barks at Candido. Shane comes in from behind and levels Candido with a chair, hits a Pittsburgh plunge on it. Tammy slaps him. That triggers a cat fight with Francine. Shane pulls Francine off and pins her to the corner, tells her to trust him and get to the back. Francine leaves. Candido's walked out by security. Shane says the belt he built was never about tits and ass. For everyone that ever held the belt, he didn't build a house for someone to come out of the mats and degrade it like a dog and pony show. A guy like Raven needed to be a great champion, but he doesn't. He doesn't need to swing a stick, and ECW is built on his shoulders, making the belt more important than anyone or anything in it, and they should give the fans a world title match they can be proud of. Taz says, ring the fucking belt. So we have a guilty as charged rematch on a No Way Hair at a House Party. Jenny, what'd you think of the way this played out?
This was good. I wanted to see them tie up again. Really, I'm not done with Shane, we'll talk about it later. But I feel nervous about his future here with us. And it was the spitting spot was great, but it was needed. Like it adds to this story, and we wanted to see this. And I love Tammy and Fran locking up. That was really good. So yeah, I was happy. I didn't want to see Taz and Chris Candido. Like, this is way better.
Yeah, I mean, it makes more sense to do a Taz Shane rematch here than it does a Taz Candido match at this point. You could do Taz Candido at some point down the line. You don't need to do that. You don't need to do that immediately. So I like that they made the switch. Shane's promo here I thought was great. You know, him saying the stuff about the dog and pony show like Raven needed. I thought that was a great line. And it was interesting to see Shane kind of almost show a little bit of respect towards Taz, which is a thing that I thought was kind of interesting. Like, you know, we've all said this bullshit to each other, but now it's just about the title, so let's have a great match. I thought that was an interesting way to go about it here. But yeah, I thought this is really well done, and it makes sense given Candido interfered in the
Yeah, it was like it made perfect sense that Shane would get his revenge here and take him out. So
I liked it. It was good.
All right, here we go. Rematch. Shane Douglas versus Taz. ECW World Title on the line. Get an early tie-up, some chain work. Taz snaps over a T-bone. Shane bails to the floor. Taz follows and hammers away. The crowd's pretty split here with these guys. They're kind of backing Shane a little. Shane shoots Taz into the crowd. He goes up top and flies off and hits him with his cast. Shane beats on Taz with a chair. Back at ringside, Taz suplexes Shane through the table. They fight their way to the bleachers and down to the merch and stage area where they collapse through another table. Shane suplexes Taz on a speaker. The locker room is empty. They're all out in the nest watching the match. Shane hits a high cross body off the stage, throws Taz to the floor. After a break, the match is spilled outside. Shane runs Taz into a garage door. Taz slugs back. They punch their way back into ringside as the crowd is fired up. Shane sets up a table in the ring. He suplexes Taz and hits an inverted neck snap. Taz rallies back with a flurry, tries the Taz mission. Shane counters to do a back suplex for two. Shane hoists up Taz for another suplex. Gets two as we see a concerned Fran watching from the locker room. Taz gets a head and arm Tazplex. The crowd is booing the champion now actively behind Shane. Taz hooks on the Taz mission. Shane starts to fade, but he punches free with the cast. Taz grabs him, puts him through the table with a Taz mission suplex, and retains the title. Taz leaves. Shane gets a standing ovation. He's in tears. The crowd is chanting, "Please don't go." So pretty cool moment. A really fun match. I thought it brought true closure to the angle. Taz gets to beat Shane cleanly, which he didn't do at the pay-per-view. Officially passes the torch. Good on Shane to get Taz over even more. I don't know if he's on his way out or not. They're certainly the fans think he may be. Mainly a brawl, but had good drama and vibe. The arena crowd deserved this too, because the pay-per-view crowd got this. This is like a battle of legends, a world title match. The arena deserved to get this as well. I liked this a lot. I went 3 1/4, Matt.
Yeah, I actually went 3.5 on this. I like this more than the pay-per-view match. I thought it was a tighter match. There was less bullshit to it, and some of the bullshit at the pay-per-view was needed, like the Sabu stuff. But I thought there was too much other stuff going around. I thought the crowd brawling here was a lot better than the crowd brawling at the pay-per-view, and I think that basically had to do because of the arena they were in, like Shane diving off the nest and all that shit. I just think it was a better crowd brawl, and the finish was unreal. And just the Tasmission suplex through the table, it looked nasty for both parties. So I love that finish too. And I think Joey at one point mentions that this was Taz's first pinfall victory since he came back in '95. So now Taz has another move in his arsenal to fuck people up. So now he's going to start winning matches by pinfall too. Jesus
Breaking
Christ.
necks.
So, right. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. So I went 3.5 on it, Jenny.
Well, that's good. This is a match that shows these wrestlers' growth to me. The maturity on Shane's side, because he doesn't seem as fucking wild and crazy. He seems like just a confident, centered man. Like, even though he lost the belt, like, he seems okay.
He almost seems at peace. Like, it almost is like
right.
a relief for him to not have to worry about it anymore. He's just kind of like
that is it, but he's still working this match like they killed it. And on the Taz side, getting a pinfall is growth for him. Not getting completely blown up in the course of this match is growth for him. So that's encouragement for me. I feel wispy about Shane, and that will continue for a while. But the finish was sick. The crowd brawling was really good, and I was so happy that the arena got to see this match because, like you said, they deserve that. Win your belt back chance. We talked about how over Taz was, but now Shane's getting so much love, because they think he's leaving.
Yeah, it's always become a respect thing because he fought like a champion. Candido screwed him. So, like, there's a little sympathy there now. So, yeah, it's almost become like a legend status. And it's good to see him look healthy, too, because he's been so banged up and injured. It was like he kind of turned the clock back a little bit in this match, kind of flying around. And I don't know if he's gutting through it or if he's feeling better. But he definitely had a little bit more pep and energy here than he had lately, where you could tell he's really been grinded down by the injuries.
It was a little emotional for me, as it was for him when he got the standing ovation and "Please don't go" chants. He looked overwhelmed. I felt overwhelmed for him, and a lot of my ECW emotions have been tied up in this man, so I think that fits. This was really good. I did 3.5 as well.
All right, let's get to our awards. Best match. I ended up, even with this one, I still went Tajiri Crazy.
Yeah, I'm going to give it the Shane bump.
Yeah, I think I got to go with Taz and Shane here, but it's close.
All right, worst match. I mean, Sid, Skull Von Crush, but even that was a fun squash.
Worst by default.
Best moment, I went Shane standing ovation at the end.
Yes.
It was a really cool moment for him. Most 90s, I went with Lance Storm's Gators Gym sweatshirt. I don't know what that means.
I saw that. What is that?
Yeah.
I had a note about it as well. I was like, what the hell is that? It looked kind of cool, though. I kind of want that shirt.
All right. Stock Rising, and pretty much everyone on the show. Crazy, Tajiri, Sid, Candido, Tammy Lynn Bish, that is.
Yep.
And then Stock Falling, I went Skull Von Crush, Candido, and the other Tammy. They really had the worst night.
Yeah. Crush fell multiple times, including through that table.
All right. Final grade. I went 8 out of 10. I mean, it's a very good episode. We had the great Super Crazy match. The Taz Shane is awesome. It's a great moment. Sid in the middle was great. I mean, honestly, the only down stuff was Candido and Tammy just looking sad. But the rest of it really hit. It was a really good episode and a nice coming out of the pay-per-view. It's not a reset. It almost feels like a coda to the pay-per-view versus like okay, here's the next 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever. It felt more like, okay, we're wrapping stuff still.
That was one of my big notes for this episode, is that we usually feel like, okay, that's over and then next, but we have all this sort of residual things. And I think that's good because it helps with some of the pacing post of the show when you don't have to have all this time to fill.
Right.
I did 8 out of 10 as well.
Yeah, I'm right there with you guys. 8 out of 10. Great episode of TV. I mean, really not much to complain about except for, Candido. But
Yeah. All right, let's see if it holds up. January 30th, 99. Taz is backstage because he's the world champion. He worked his ass off. Didn't kiss ass, didn't suck up. He's no role model what anyone wants to look up to. He's a miserable, mean, nasty man that you don't want to live next door to, because if you look at him the wrong way, he's going to throw a garbage can through your window. He's pissed off. He's bent. He's hot now that he has the belt. Things are going to get worse. He's a tiger that worked his ass off to chase down and eat the animal that all the other predators join in on his prey, and everyone wants his belt. He's 5'8", 248 pounds. He isn't some big dude loaded with steroids. He's just a miserable workhorse. The Bush League shooter for 12 years. That's what he is. Unlike other champions like Rocky Maivia, a green spoiled bastard. The more things change. He's no second or third generation wrestler with the whole family in wrestling. Not a spoiled rich kid from Hawaii that gets pushed for his good looks or because he's on the board of a major company. If Rocky comes to any ECW card and faces him, he'll fix his looks for him. Hulk Hogan, look in my eyes. Is there anyone that honestly believes Hogan could beat him or even hang for 30 seconds? He's real. He's pissed. He's on top of the mountain. Things are going to get hotter. He gets hungrier. He's up at 3:30 a.m. running 10 miles. He's ready to go right now. And anyone in any locker room, ECW, WWF, WCW, UFC, boxing, WCF, anyone who wants it can bring it. Great State of the Union promo, I thought, by Taz. I like the old school ECW vibe, calling out Hogan and Rocky. It brought back the old Shane days of calling out Dick Flair and all that.
Absolutely.
I thought this is good. Like, Jenny, you were worried about Taz, curious about Taz, but I mean, since the pay-per-view now, he's had a great title defense, a really good showdown segment, and now this really good, like, kind of, okay, I'm the champ now. I beat Shane twice. That's in the past. This is me. I'm your guy, and here's what's going on. So I thought this is a really good, like, just right out of the gate, this is who our champion is.
I'm your guy, but I ain't your role model. He's real in and out on this. And there is shades of Shane. I literally wrote that. Really reminded me of Shane, calling out the other champs. But, it's fine. If you're bad talking Hogan and Rocky, I'm kind of all right with that. So there goes that. So he's winning me over. Of course, he says steroids in a wrestling promo. So that was weird for me. And but this is good. Yeah, we all know everybody's coming for your belt. Everybody always comes for the champ's belt. So none of that stuff really was like hitting for me. The Tiger story was a little funkish.
My daddy had a tiger.
I'm just saying, mostly good, but there are some what the fuck moments for me, Matt.
It feels like it's been forever since we've had one of these promos out of Taz where he's just standing in front of the void behind him. It's just, I love these.
Void.
The Taz void, yeah. I love all these promos. He's obviously the title hasn't changed him any because he's still fucking pissed off at everything, which is great to see. But him calling The Rock a green bastard, that's very timely given the current state of things. Holy shit! It's like how the Simpsons predict everything. So did fucking Taz. Goddamn. I would also pay good money to see Taz choke out Hogan. Man, I'd give a lot.
Fun, right?
Especially in '99.
Yeah, really, I'd give a lot of money to see that. But yeah, Taz he said it best himself. Taz is real and he's pissed. So I think
spectacular.
And spectacular. You're right. So I think that puts it perfectly. So yeah, awesome first promo here for Taz.
Are we got a slate for Living Dangerously, opening animation, Joey in the Nest. We're getting more house party footage tonight from the arena. The whole show again is on home video. We get a long batch of clips of the Douglas Taz situation, the match from last week. Back to the Nest. Joey says Shane Douglas has even his score with Chris Candido. Made good points about the prestige of the ECW title. Joey says Shane is a complex man. His sins cannot be forgiven, but he is the greatest ECW world champion, and both God and the devil have dibs on his soul. It's a
very poetic.
A very Joey thing here. We get a smarmy ECW hype piece narrated by Paul E. Dangerously, hyping Living Dangerously 99. And then we head right to the ring for some tag team action as the tag team carousel rolls around. Rotten Balls back together. Axel Rotten Balls Mahoney to take on our tag team champions, Sabu and Rob Van Dam. Chance for the belts. Axel and Balls have never been champions together. Of course, Balls had them, but not with Axel. So chance for them to finally win the gold. Joey confirms that Living Dangerously will be in Asbury Park.
Yeah.
And they expect to be sold out yet again. Balls ska dances as Fonzie brings out the champs. Very random. Balls starts by beating on Sabu. Then Axel comes in. They double up. RVD comes in and Balls slaps up against him with some punches. Balls and Axel hits a great Doomsday Device variation for 2. Things break down with some brawling. Balls bounces off Sabu with an avalanche and then peppers RVD with punches while Axel stomps away. Balls hits a spine buster. Axel follows with a leg drop for 2. The challengers are on fire. They come in hot. Axel and Balls empties some punches on the champs until Fonzie comes in with a chair. Sabu uses the chair to hit Axel and then a Van Damme for Balls. Sabu hits Axel with air Sabu, but Axel comes back with the clotheslines. All 4 brawl at ringside. Sabu slips inside. It's a triple jump moonsault. Sabu and Axel brawl inside, battle inside as RVD slams onto Balls with the top rope somersault senton into the crowd in a very wild looking spot. Sabu sets up a table bridge. He drop kicks Axel's knee, kicks him in the head. RVD and Balls are back in the ring. The champs use the chair to keep Axel down, but Balls hits RVD with a back suplex, slams RVD, starts to go up top, but RVD dives into him to stop him and flies right out of the ring. Balls pulls himself up, but Sabu leaps into him and they fly through a table. Axel covers Sabu for 2 as Fonzie's in with a chair. He puts it up to Axel's head and RVD comes off the top with a Van Daminator. Balls bounces back in, hits a super kick on RVD for 2. Sabu and Balls both head up top. Balls hits a frog splash on RVD, but Sabu follows with an Arabian facebuster on Balls. The champs hit Rolling Thunder for 2. RVD and Sabu then finish and retain the titles with a double team splash leg drop on Balls through the table. Really wild match, some fantastically timed spots and good heat. Rotten Balls gave it a go. They hung in. The champs are smooth and flawless. A really good tag match, even if the division is a bit stale. A fun match and mixed in some fresh spots. I like this a lot, Matt. I actually went 3.5. I thought this really popped. I thought, for a team that's kind of like whatever at this point, I thought Rotten Balls really worked hard. They got a lot of shine. The crowd was into it. RVD and Sabu were always awesome. So
Balls got shine is what you're telling me. I see. I went 3.25 on it. Yeah, super fun match here. Just great spots, really, by everybody. Just the top rope chair kicks, the face busters, just everything they do. It's so fluid. It's so smooth that RVD does and Sabu do. The finish was sick. The double leg drop. I love that move. So yeah, just a really fun sprint. The double team moves were great. There was no real wasted energy by anybody. So just, yeah, a super fun tag match here. So 3.25 for me.
Yeah, I did the 3.5. I really like this too. I've been on the Balls and Axel train for a little bit, so I'm just saying I was not at all surprised by how good this was. Great wild energy, awesome spots like that RVD holy shit spot into the crowd made me very nervous for him. And then Sabu did a sick dive like he always does. And then the team energy with Axel and Balls is really cool. Like they just had this fluidity that I think I'm not going to say it rivals RVD Sabu. It's comparable to their chemistry and the way they flow. It's just they have a different style of wrestling. Love the Arabian facebuster with the chair on Balls. I thought Balls was excellent in this match. He had some really cool spots, and to me, he was the glue of the match. Awesome finish. I liked it a lot. 3.5 stars.
yeah, it feels like he's growing a bit past just
I
being like the
agree.
chair guy. Like I think he's
Yep.
showing more and more
Yep.
every week. He can do some different stuff, which is good.
And he's
I actually
talented.
I like Axel. I feel like it's I feel like Balls can probably do better. I feel like he could be like doing something else versus just he's been in this tag division now for feels like years. I mean, it's probably just been like a year, but
Maybe
either with
a year.
Axel, with Tanaka, and I feel like we've just been kind of aimless a little bit. So I feel like he's someone they could do a little bit more with at some point. So I kind of liked Axel as the manager, honestly. Like I thought that was a better approach. Axel,
He's good on the mic, but
Yeah.
I enjoy him a lot in the ring.
yeah, I mean they're fine. It just feels like it just feels very, very repetitive. That's all. It feels like we've seen them in a million tag title matches lately. All right, Prazak backstage is pottering his role as a reporter. He's struggling to get an interview with any of these hardcore wrestlers. Super Crazy comes in. He speaks to him in Spanish, and Prazak agrees with him. Joey's in the nest. He talks about the Super Crazy Tajiri rivalry. Says they're going to have a rubber match next week. He then talks about the unanswered fight challenge by Public Enemy. And we get some Public Enemy clips as Joey explains why they wouldn't bother coming here because they have big money deals with Ted Turner. After a break, Joel, Gertner, and sign guy Dudley are in the ring. Joel says the Dudleys have left the building because they were so disgusted when Public Enemy did not show up and stand with them instead of the match. We now get Gertner vision. It's a Gertner graphic on the screen that freaks out Joey. Joel goes through his usual raunchy story about pro wrestling industry. In 1995, how Public Enemy ruled ECW, how he sat at a time as a timekeeper at ringside, and his memories of Public Enemy. He makes some fat jokes and some of the gross shit talking of their time in Philly. Joey cuts them off. We go to break, get an ad for the pay-per-view. Matt, I don't know if you have any Gertner stuff before we get to the big segment here.
Do you even have to ask? My
All
God.
right.
Yeah.
Why don't you give us the first half of the Gertner, and then we'll get to the big segment.
All right. So he says that the big thing he said here is that he says grunge needed a shower and smelled like the asshole of a 75-year-old dead skunk with coyote pussy on its breath.
Jesus fuck.
Yeah.
I thought his Disney stuff was edgy, you guys.
It took me about rewinding 17 times to make sure I got it right.
I
All right,
appreciate your work, Matt.
Thank you.
After that break, we're back to Gertner vision. Joel's still ranting about Public Enemy. Says the fans should be careful what they wish for. And Public Enemy's theme hits. Joey gets fired up. Yeah, they're here. He says Public Enemy's going to kill Gertner and Sign Guy. The crowd get the hands waving. But of course, it's just Bubba and Devon cosplaying as Public Enemy. Bubba Ray Grunge says he's already blown up. He's keeping going with some more mocking shtick. The crowd chants welcome back. Bubba says things are different. I don't see the same ugly rats I used to fuck. And then we get a she's still here chant, which is amazing. They point to some girl in the second row.
That was something.
Bubba says he'll meet her at the Travel Lodge. Devon says his back hurts, and Bubba says probably because you're fucking 90 years old, which is true. Rock was much older than you would think. He's like in his 40s, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
Bubba says, I'm not fat, I'm just big boned. Joey wants to wrap this up, but Bubba breaks character, says this is the closest the fans are ever going to get to see Public Enemy again. He wants to look, and the Delis didn't do them wrong, not even Paulie Dangerously. Public Enemy did all the fans wrong because they didn't answer the challenge. They're too afraid Eric Bischoff may fire them. Vince won't hire them, and they may get hurt. The fans wouldn't welcome them back, and they couldn't stand it. Bubba says the Public Enemy was here tonight. The last voice they'd ever hear is the Delis proclaiming Public Enemy is dead. Edie Kamosi fires back up. Public Enemy come out. They are here. The brawl is on to a pop. Public Enemy clean house on the Dudleys as we fade out. A great segment. The big payoff. Obviously, we talked about it. The tease was a little too strong fit not to do it, but whatever. They're back home. They're nearly 3 years to the day that they left at House Party 96. At the same show, they have a big feud lined up. I don't know if they stick around. I don't know if we get anything out of this, but if nothing else, you get the cool moment of this brawl between two of the legendary ACW tag teams. Public Enemy, I believe, was still technically, I don't know if they were under contract or what was going on. I mean, it would make sense if their contract was up, I guess, because it would have been 3 years almost exactly since they left. And I do know they get the dalliance with the WF in the spring. So I'm not sure where this is all throughout this, but we'll see. We'll ride it out. But Matt, what did you think? Did this work for you? Were you happy to see them? Did you think it would maybe just be the Dudleys shitting on them? What do you think?
So I think the first segment, it was like, all right, maybe they really aren't here. But I think once they did this segment and they came back out dressed up as Public Enemy, this is when I was like, all right, obviously they're here. And it was still great. Like, just because I expected it didn't mean it wasn't great. I thought Gertner was fantastic, as we've mentioned earlier. And the little of the brawl we saw was really good. And listen, I mean, it's two of the biggest tag teams ECW had. Like, if Public Enemy was coming back in, it makes perfect sense to throw them right in there with the Dudleys. They're like the two, especially, the Dudleys are kind of like the kings of the tag division and have been for a while. And the Public Enemy were the kings of the tag division, 3-4 years ago. So it makes perfect sense to pit them against each other. So I like this. I hope it goes somewhere and it's not, just one of these random one-off things with nothing happening. So I hope they stick around. We'll see. But yeah, I enjoyed this for what it was here, Jenny.
So I don't think you accurately explained what Gertner vision is, because it's literally like little icons that like 4 on the screen of his fucking face.
Yep.
And it's hilarious. And even the Dudleys got some laughs out of me on this. I thought their impersonations were pretty funny. So I watched a lot of Public Enemy matches. So they kind of had it down. They kind of did well. on the mocking side of this promo. Joel roasting the crowd and everything that he said was just fucking amazing. Welcome back chants was really funny. While they were dancing around, getting blown up, as he says, while he was dancing. And then the run in, like I said, like Matt said, like it was a little like on that first segment, and then after this, I was like, yeah, they're definitely going to show up. And boy, they looked a little not
They've been eating
extreme.
well. They've been eating well on that Turner
Yeah.
contract. Yeah.
Making six figures. I mean, hell.
So if they are back, they probably need to hit the gym for a hot minute because, but even though Bubba is also pretty portly during this segment, so not a lot of, they might break the ring. I'm just saying, if they have a tag match, it's going to be a heavy ass ring. But it was good. It was a good way to end the show.
All right. For the awards, best match, it's pretty much our only match, right? It's Excellent
Yeah.
Balls against RVD and Sabu.
Yep.
So no worse match. Best moment, I went with the Public Enemy return and the Dudley's cosplay as them was good.
Yeah. Yep.
Most 90s, I went with the name drop of the name Rocky Maivia. When Taz said Rocky Maivia.
Yep.
Rising Taz, RVD Sabu, Rotten Balls. I mean, I guess Public Enemy. They're back. We'll see.
Dudley's.
Yeah, Dudley's were good. I don't have anyone falling. I thought everyone pretty much hitting this episode.
Gertner is the MVP of this fucking show.
Yeah,
Put him on every week on it. Even if he's not on, you should still put Gertner on him.
Yes.
All right, final grade, I went 7 out of 10. I mean, it was a good follow-up episode to our previous one. We only had the one match. It was great. The big moment of Public Enemy return. We had the awesome Taz promo. Again, nothing down here. We're on a hot streak. The TV's been very good since November to remember.
Yep.
And great since Guilty as Charged for these couple that we've talked about so far.
I did the 7.5 between Taz's promo, which was kind of setting the tone for what I wanted to see, something different from him. And then the great tag match. Super Crazy doing a Spanish interview with a man who does not speak Spanish. And then the stuff at the end. Great episode.
Yeah, I went 7.5 on it too, on the strength of the promo and the Public Enemy stuff. Just a fun episode, and you had a great match on top of it too. So it would have been a good episode without that great match, but the match added to it.
All right, let's get to our last installment here tonight, February 6th, 1999. Fonzie, Sabu, and RVD are backstage. Fonzie says it's a historical night. For 25 years, the Sheik has set things on fire, but now Sabu makes his place in Detroit. Fonzie says it's right down the street from Battle Creek, and RVD deadpans quietly. Yeah, it's a little bit more than that. RVD says he is here as well. He makes it a very big night for the fans, and when you buy a ticket to see RVD, you even get Sabu as a bonus. RVD says Sabu has his only suit on. It's a big night for him. Sabu gets to be on a card with RVD. RVD starts an RVD chant, but Sabu's annoyed. Just amazing, as always. With these guys.
Yep.
So good.
Great. So much pointing. So much pointing.
And I gotta say, Sabu always looks weird in a suit to me.
I love him in a
Doesn't
suit.
seem natural.
No.
I like it. And
all right, Joey
I don't
Styles.
like him with that belt, but that's me.
Joey Styles at the Detroit Coliseum or the Michigan State Fairgrounds. He's in the nest, talks about the night ahead, and Shane Douglas will be here. We get clips from last week of Public Enemy's return. Joey in the nest recaps that. We get the clips from the Public Enemy and Dudley brawl from earlier tonight in Detroit, which included a shirtless Joel Gertner for some reason.
Oh, yes, it did.
Flopping around out there. So Public Enemy, if nothing else, appear to be on the road here. So we'll see.
Right.
Douglas and Francine head to the ring to a loud pop. It could be the face turn, could be really here. Shane hypes up the crowd that want to see Francine's tits. She plays to them a bit. Shane tells Francine to get Joey Styles and they'll start the show naked. Joey starts to panic. Shane starts to rant about Candido but Candido and Tommy emerge from the curtain. Let me try that again. Starts to rant, but Candido and Tammy emerge from the curtain, dragging Francine with them. Shane comes in to save her, but Tammy jumps on his back. Candido slugs Shane. Candido throws him to the railing and punches him in the head. Candido shoots him in the ring, and Joey wonders what happened to Candido the clown as he continues to punch on Shane. We get our opening animation, then we see footage of Shane being walked to the back. Joey recaps what happened. We have a refocused Candido, and then we get some more talk about Public Enemy and the Dudleys. We find out the Public Enemy have been stitched up and may have to go to the hospital with concussions. So Jenny, what do you think of the showdown? As it looks like we're gonna have a triple threat war here between Shane and Candido, really brewing hot.
Yeah. I really like this. The pop for Shane was really huge. And then Fran was climbing the turnbuckle and she tripped. And then her tits almost fell out. Right.
Mhm.
So then that's what started the whole thing about her tits. And she just went with it. And I was watching her during it. And she's such a natural, with rolling with that sort of thing. And she just kept teasing it. She just kept fucking with her tits. It was kind of hilarious. And then Shane was like, "Go get Joey. We're gonna have a naked segment." And I busted out laughing. Just throwing Joey in it like that. Even how Francine makes Joey feel. So
Mhm.
I just really enjoyed that. And then the Tammy and Chris sort of kidnapping part, bringing her back out. It's just a lot of really cool drama, a lot of great story. I just thought Shane was great. I just love him. What the fuck? He's gonna leave. I know he's gonna leave.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed this segment too. Starting the show naked would have been a hell of a way to start this episode, let me tell you. But it looks like you said, we're going to get a triple threat war with Candido. Candido, by the way, is yoked out of his mind. Holy
Mhm.
shit. He is fucking massive right now. Good Lord. But the brawl was good. Him taking out Shane. I mean, that's a thing that not a lot of people have done. So it puts Candido over pretty strong.
And I think they're doing I think if you would have thought these guys were going to feud, you assume Shane is the heel and Candido is the angry face that got hosed in the triple threat. But it's interesting they went the other way.
Yeah,
or maybe the fans didn't give him a chance, I guess, either. But
that's true. They already decided they want him. So.
Right.
All right, to the ring we go as Chris Chetty is set to take on the Amish Roadkill. Chetty hits the ring to kick us off after a break. Roadkill's on the top rope, but he misses an elbow drop. Of course, they're quickly interrupted by Jeff Jones. He's ranting about not showing mercy in his court. Because Chetty showed mercy on Roadkill, Jones renders him guilty and says, "It is time for restitution from the man." Sid is out to a huge pop. He's maniacal as always, kicks the shit out of Chetty, wrecks him with a clothesline. Roadkill gets on the apron. Sid destroys him as well. Chokeslams Chetty, chokeslams Roadkill off the apron through the table. Sid finishes Chetty with a pair of power bombs. The crowd is losing his shit, and he slowly walks to the back, screaming like an animal. What a scene. Pure chaos. Obviously no greatest on the match, but Sid was just amazing, again, destroying these guys. And I mean, it's like 911, amped up times 1,000 right now with what we're doing with Sid, and it's working. They just pulled the old 911 play out of the playbook and juiced it up.
I mean, like we talked about, it's not bad. It plays to his strengths. Everybody loves to see it. It's perfect booking. What do you want?
Yeah, you don't need him in matches or in angles. Just let him destroy people.
You
That's all we
don't
want.
need nothing. This is great.
I'm here for him fucking killing random people every week.
Poor Chris Chetty.
Well, my guess too is they probably didn't know how long they were going to have him, right?
Yeah.
He's going to obviously.
So you can't really work.
We know he's headed to WCW soon, right? So they probably knew he was, because I think they even referenced it. Joey said it before Guilty as Remember. He's like, he's out. I thought he signed to WCW.
Right.
So this is short term. So instead of putting him in a fucking storyline that's probably going to get cut short, they're just screw it. Have him tour, pay him to destroy bodies and pop the crowd, and that's it.
Yep. It's perfect. Yep.
Yeah, they're doing it right. All right, we get an ad for the pay-per-view. Joey resets the show, sends us back to the ring for our next match as Spike Dudley is taking on Lance Storm. Tammy Lynn bitches with Storm. Storm grabs the mic, stalls a bit to build some heat, and then says, before Mike Lazansky's music starts, he doesn't need a get-over match. He needs a chance to prove that Spike Dudley's a one-hit wonder. We see clips from December 26th where Spike beats Storm. Storm says Spike can never beat him twice in a lifetime, never mind twice in a row. He wants Spike, and he gets it. He stomps out. Joey talks about all the giants Spike has slayed. Tammy distracts Spike, and Storm murders her with a missile drop kick. Storm gets a cartwheel splash. He's pushing, but Spike goes low, tries the acid drop. Storm counters to a back suplex for 2. Spike counters with a powerbomb into a Rana and cradle for 2. He hits a flying forearm for 2, shoves Storm off the apron to the railing. Spike goes up top. It's a high cross body, lands a chair shot. Back inside, he heads up top, but Tammy shoves him. He bounces off a table and splats Storm, shoves him back inside. It's a triple powerbomb and gets the win. I thought it's a really fun sprint. The crowd is hot. Storm gets his revenge, continues to develop into a top-level heat-seeking missile. Spike is, of course, perfect to bump around like a madman. And Tammy evolves into more of a productive valet as well, not just eye candy. She's getting active in the matches now. So 2 3/4 for me, Jenny. I thought this really worked well.
I did the 3. Just a really fun match. Like perfect pacing, cool spots, and awesome finish. And Storm's really in a great spot right now for us. Tammy is great. I love her on the sidelines, getting involved in the matches. She looks awesome. Spike is my boo. I'm just gonna say maybe Mikey has been replaced by Spike.
Wow.
So that's official on this episode. And he doesn't seem like a little guy when does that make sense? Like Spike is little, but he wrestles big, and
Mhm.
he gave Lance a fight. So I did the 3, Matt.
Yeah, I went 3 on this too. Spike is so good at these like sprints, like these
Mhm.
5-minute matches where he just goes out there like a fucking madman, throws himself around. I mean, there was an acid drop on the railing that was disgusting. I thought that was great too, and just like even like little moves, like there's that move where Storm reverses the acid drop into a back suplex. It's just
Yeah.
everything looks so smooth and great with
Mhm.
these guys, and just a really fun match. So yeah, there was also that triple power bomb spot too,
Mhm.
which was
That
great
was
too.
sick. Yeah.
So yeah, I had to go the 3 stars on this.
Storms is so fluid. It's
Yep.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yep.
Joey's in the nasty says there's a story brewing and Prazak is backstage working on it. Gertner's running his mouth backstage. Says someone paid Public Enemy to get them back to ECW and that the Dudleys weren't doing it for pride or honor. They have neither. Public Enemy didn't get run off. They go back begging for jobs to Bischoff, and here they are, and they will be in Queens on Friday night. Credible Jason and Jazz are backstage. Credible hints at his actions to come in Queens. Goes to all his past victories and assaults. And that brings us to the rubber match of our tremendous series between Tajiri and Super Crazy. Tajiri follows out from Crazy. Joey goes through their previous encounters. Tajiri gets a stiff kick. Crazy goes to the leg, gets a mat work countering. Crazy works the arm. Tajiri counters to a Rana and a cartwheel forearm. Crazy bails out, resets, but Tajiri's all over his arm. Tajiri drop kicks the knees, goes back to the arm. He's rolling around, twisting at it. Crazy counters to a modified single crab. Crazy attacks the leg with some strikes, goes into a rolling surfboard to a rare chancery. We get a quick flurry of counters into a standoff and reset. Tajiri flips Crazy over the top to the floor, meets him with a perfect acai moonsault, murders him back in the ring with a kick to the head, gets the tarantula. Crazy tries to regroup outside. Tajiri meets him with another brutal kick as he comes back in. Crazy dodges a kick, hits a missile drop kick, slams Tajiri down, hits a moonsault for 1. Crazy follows with a tiger bomb for 2, tries another one, but Tajiri counters to a swinging DDT. Tajiri gets 2 on a bridging German. Again, gets the win on a Rana into a victory roll as he wins the series over Super Crazy. I thought this was awesome as always, but it is getting a little repetitive. It felt very similar to the last match we saw a couple weeks ago. But in context, it's whatever. Like, this is a different town. Maybe they didn't see it on the TV. I get it. But we're watching them in order, and it did feel a little repetitive.
Right.
The end stretch was a little shorter as well. I'd say it's the least of the 3,
Mhm.
but it's still a high level, and the crowd loved it. 3.5. So for me, it's still a great match. But I would rank it below the other 2 that we've seen so far. And I think now let's get them apart from each other here and move on to different stuff, because as great as they are together, I don't want to see it get worn out like some of the other feuds we've had in ECW. What do you think, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, listen, if the worst match of the 3 is still a 3.5, which is what I went on it to, like, you're doing something right. But it is. I almost wonder if they should have like a stipulation match or something, like a 2 out of 3 falls, or just something different, just to spice it up a little bit, you know. But I mean, the match is still great, but it's just and it's tough because like we're watching this all in a row here, so I get why they're doing this every week because it's so great. But for our purposes, I want to see something a little bit different. But it is still a fantastic match. So I mean, yeah, 3.5, but it's all stuff we've seen before, which is weird to say about a 3.5 star match, but here we are.
I didn't ding it at all because I did the 3.5 too. Because like Justin said, it's the same match. It's just a different town, and
Right.
I want these people in these towns to be able to see this match, if that makes sense. Like normally, Jenny would be very bored by watching the same match that was run in 3 different towns, but you know, I this one, it's not getting old for me yet because they're still awesome and the crowd still eats them up, and I understand the context a lot more than I typically do. So, it's still a great move. The wild uh moves and submissions are great. That rolling inverted surfboard move is fucking crazy. I don't know how he doesn't tear his arms off when he does that.
I know.
And
It's
then
ridiculous.
the way that Tajiri can just float through a moonsault is beautiful.
Yep.
And it's just great stuff.
All right, we get clips from earlier. The Dudleys wrecking Public Enemy. They hit a 3D on Johnny Grunge. They stood tall. New Jack came out with some plunder. We then cut to Joey in the nest. He tries to figure out who would have paid the Dudleys and talks about the old gangsta Public Enemy wars. We see that the Dudleys attacked New Jack before he could even show up and prove what side he was on. Prazak has uncovered that the benefactor is now offered a bonus if the Dudleys can also take out New Jack. Joey tries to figure out who has an issue with Public Enemy and New Jack and hypes up Queens, where the Dudleys and Public Enemy will face off for the first time. Any quick thoughts on that segment of the mysterious benefactor?
The word benefactor really bugs me. I don't know what it is. Is that weird?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very soap opera term.
That's what it is.
No.
Like, it's too soap opera-y for me in my wrestling. Thank you very
wrestling's
much.
not soap opera at
It's
all.
not full of soap
Right,
opera cliches
right.
at all. But I was just like, no, just don't say that.
It's a weird wrinkle to this whole feud, but I do hope that Scrooge McDudley is the benefactor.
All right, main event time. It's Taz taking on El Diablo, one of the best
Alrighty.
indie workers in the Midwest. Or is it just Diablo? Is it El Diablo or just Diablo?
El
Diablo.
Diablo.
It was El Diablo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the best indie workers in the Midwest. He has a golden chance here to win the ECW title. Taz attacks Diablo with the bell, beats the shit out of him. Joey says this is against his usual approach. Usually he's a bit more measured. Taz talks shit. He slugs away, hits a pair of head and arm Taz plexes, T-bone, and finishes with the Taz mission. Pure squash. 1 star for me.
Yep.
Okay. Taz grabs the mic. He puts over to Detroit and issues an open challenge to any champion in the WWF or WCW to fight him in any town. Taz starts to leave and comes back and calls out the FTW champion Sabu if he wants to fight in his hometown. Sabu shows up. Taz mows him down with a lariat. They trade blows until security breaks it up. And Joey says they just can't keep these guys apart, and will history repeat itself as we fade out? So a hot finish with two legendary rivals. Feels maybe a little bit played, but they haven't fought for the world title yet. So that is new, right? They haven't faced off over the gold. But that wraps up the show, Matt. What do you think of this?
Yeah, first of all, El Diablo, one of the best workers in the Midwest. Not at all some fucking ring crew guy they threw a mask on, first of all. But
Fuck.
as far as Taz and Sabu, I feel like Sabu kind of has to get the title shot, given how he interfered in the pay-per-view match. So it makes a lot of sense, and it hasn't happened in a while as far as them one-on-one. I mean, it happened on that random episode of Hardcore TV, but as far as like a pay-per-view, it's been a while. So I get it, and it's a massive match to have on a pay-per-view. So it makes sense to me to do it.
I don't know why I'm challenging Taz with having some originality. Because I mean, it's wrestling, and all these fucking shits have been done before. But to me, I just am reminded of Shane. I'm reminded of all of our champions. He's not doing anything different for me.
Just in a different style. But no, I mean, you're not wrong. It's very similar. It's very similar.
I just want something. I just want some other sort of unique sort of Taz hook. And I don't know. I feel like it might be there, but to me, there's just some sort of little spark missing.
All right. Well, we'll see if that spark clicks for you next episode, because this is it for us here tonight. Quick awards. Best match, Tajiri Crazy.
I believe so.
Yep.
No.
Right.
Yeah, definitely yes.
Worst match, Taz Diablo.
Yep.
Best moment, I again went with Sid cleaning house.
Yeah, I think so. I think I'll go with that.
Yeah, sounds all right.
Most 90s, I don't know, I went Public Enemy. There wasn't really much else going on.
Battle Creek, Michigan feels kind of 90s.
That's him.
Yeah.
Stock Rising. Actually, my Candido here. I thought it was the first time in this set of episodes we're talking about where he kind of showed up. Sid, Storm, Tajiri Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's everybody.
Falling, I went Chetty, Roadkill, and Diablo. All the true Roadkill of the episode, all three of them.
Yep.
Boy, I
and
hope
then
we see El Diablo again.
Maybe if we come back to Michigan. Final grade, I went 6.5 out of 10. I mean, it was the weakest of the episodes we watched besides the recap. Still good, but it definitely felt like, okay, we're on the road. We got to kill a week here before we get to Queens or whatever. Although I think we do get more Detroit, I don't know, to kick off our next episode. But I don't know, it felt a little bit fillery here. It felt like a tease episode, which is fine. I mean, we're coming off 2 real hot episodes, a lot going on. It's okay to dial back a minute and digest what's going on before we launch back into more shit. So
to me, it's they're starting to like piece together things. So you got like House Party 99, and they're showing things like, and they're trying to put it more in a linear way. And before we would have just like random out of order matches. So the way that they're doing it seems more organized to me. But I did 7 out of 10 for this.
They've become more of a TV company over the last year or so.
Yes.
I mean, that's clear.
100%.
So they've in 90 starting with the pay-per-view and then really into 98, 99 now. They're booking more for engrossing the TV audience to order pay-per-views versus like using the TV to maybe get people to the arenas or whatever. Like now it really feels like they're trying to draw you in to order the pay-per-views. So.
Yep. Yeah, I went 6.5 on it too. It's a good episode. It's a fairly standard episode. I always like seeing the house show footage just to see how the reaction is from fans that aren't in Philly. So that's interesting to me. But other than that, I mean, yeah, it's a notch below everything else we've talked about. But
all right.
The only thing I have left to say is I'm debuting my extreme tattoo that I got for ECW. It is a barbed wire heart on my arm. And it looks a little bit like a ball sack because it's upside down as a
rotten balls.
Rotten
so
balls.
I got a rotten balls with a barbed wire. So.
Right.
There you go. Well, if you're watching on video, you can see it. If you're listening, you can imagine it. All right, we'll be back in 2 weeks. We'll have another 3 episodes of TV. Be sure to check out everything a North South Connection has to offer, both on audio and video. Subscribe on social media like we talked about. Until then, I want everyone to stay extremely extreme. Talk to you in a couple weeks. Shout out to the boy, the uncrowned NWA World Heavyweight Champion.
Boar's War.
EC3. Boar all day.